Writing stories. How to write a good story. You will firstly need to ensure that you have a very good start to your story in order for your story to be good. This can be done by making sure that you grab your reader's attention right from the start. This can be done by a very interesting opening sentence that is effective in causing the reader to want to read on. This can be done in a variety of ways. One way it can be done by starting with the direct address to the reader, or it can also be done by description of unique or unusual characters, or even starting in the middle of action, as all of these will contribute to interesting the reader and making them want to read on more. However, what is most important overall to write a good start to your story is that you are effectively entertaining the reader so that they will want to read the rest of your story. You need to ensure that the narrative viewpoint that you are using fits the intention or task of your story. To do this, you will need to pick vocabulary that suits the tone of your story. For instance, if you are writing a horror story, you might use words such as ghostly or bloody to create a violent and spooky tone, which will be very, very suitable for a horror story. You will also need to ensure that you are using a suitable narrative viewpoint for your story. The types of narrative viewpoint that they are below. I will go through them quickly. A first-person narrator is a narrator that tells the story directly from their own experiences. So they use words like I and me. Using a first-person narrator will be quite important if you are trying to help establish a direct and personal connection with the reader in your story. A second-person narrator is a narrator who will include the audience in their storytelling. They will use words like you as if the audience is a part of the story. This is quite useful to help the reader feel what the characters are feeling like. A third-person narration, on the other hand, is when the narrator is not one of the characters but is talking from the outside and will talk about the characters with words such as he or she. This can help the readers see the story from a more outside perspective and feel as though they are looking in on the story from an outside perspective like the narrator is. You will be required in your story also to use the language features we have discussed before. This makes your story much more interesting and technical. Hence, we'll use features like metaphors, similes, personification, onomatopoeia, irony, analogy, hyperbole, any of these features that you could think of. The more features you include, the better. Finally, it's important that you have a very strong and impactful ending. There are many examples of how you could end your story. You could finish with a plot twist to surprise the reader. Or the main character could have a realization or epiphany. The ending could end with a question, which is a very, very interesting way of doing it because it leaves the reader wondering and thinking. Or you could end with a happily ever after, a happy ending, which will satisfy your reader and make them feel very fulfilled. However, under no circumstance should you be ending with "it was all a dream," as that is a very, very low-level ending and is not very effective either. I hope you found this video useful. Support us by liking, subscribing and sharing with your friends. If you have any questions, post it on our forum at examqa.com.